If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Test, check 1, 2. You know you need unique New York. You know you need unique New York. Does that sound all right? Ah, that's better. You can always tell something's missing when you get isolated results. Like AI that's only right for one of your systems. Get AI that can work across your data and applications. Learn more at IBM.com. The AI built for business. IBM.
What happens when the rhythm of the world comes alive under a big time? The Universal Circus is coming. Vibrant performances from every corner of the globe. It's coming back to the DMV. Tickets on sale now at universalcircus.com.
Vulnerability doesn't mean you have to be crying in front of people. Vulnerability can be just recognizing how you feel.
For so many men, vulnerability gets mistaken for weakness. But why? And what's that misunderstanding costing us? On the latest episode of Mind If We Talk, a podcast from BetterHelp, host and licensed therapist Hesu Zhou unpacks the pressures around masculinity and how those expectations can leave men feeling isolated, disconnected, and stuck. Whether you're working on redefining your relationship with masculinity, trying to make a change, or just want to better understand the men in your life, this episode is a must listen. Mind If We Talk is available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, welcome to the Daily Tech News Show Weekend Edition. We got a special one for you this time. You might have heard our segment earlier in the week where Dr. Niki told us about a book about silly science from Dr. Carly Ann York. Well, Dr. Niki was able to sit down and chat with Carly Ann York a little bit more about this. So take it away, Dr. Niki.
Dr. Carly Ann York, welcome to the show. We're here to talk about your book, your brand new book that launched yesterday, I want to say, The Salmon Cannon and the Levitating Frog. I gave the listeners a bit of a sneak peek about it the other day, but we have you here to talk about it now. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Congratulations, by the way, for writing an entire book. Having read through like half of it, there's a ton of research that has gone into this, I can tell. So, how's that experience just been in general, just living this life?
It's been really cool. So the book just came out yesterday. My husband and I took a little trip to a Barnes and Noble to go and see it in person, and it was there, and so yeah, it's weird. It's one of those like giant life things where you feel like you should like feel different afterwards, but then you actually don't really feel different afterwards.
I mean, how long have you been working on this project?
Gosh, I probably signed the contract to start it a little over 2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
So long time coming, and it's
nice relief now.
It's nice to finally be able to share it. I feel like I've been talking about it for forever, and like.
Yeah, well, we met in January at the Society for Integrative Comparative Biology, and we were talking about it then, and that's how I found out about it. And it is really right down my alley of like stuff that I like about science. Like the stuff that I cover on DTNS is this quote unquote silly science, which we call this segment, which is way more than just silly science, which is what the whole book is about. But all these anecdotes about how people think this is maybe not very interesting, like I was just saying, like the seals that play video games, but it turns out we learn a ton about it in the long run. And so this book is basically a compilation of all the fun anecdotes and the cool science behind it, which is just what I live for in science. So I guess that's how we connected.
Yeah, it was really, really fun to do the research on that book.
I was going to ask about this. Did you do a ton of interviews, or did you just like deep dive into the internet? How did you find all this information?
Both. I did a number of interviews, so, I would say more of the stories than not came with an interview. If it was someone doing research now.
Yeah, because
that
this
has an
isn't the
active
stuff
lab.
that gets published in the publication, right?
Right,
This is
right.
the backstory.
Right. So I definitely spent some time with Sheila Paddock and David Hu and Patty Brennan talking about their whole experience with being waste booked, what that means.
Yeah, do you want to develop on that and kind of tell the listeners about this whole waste book idea? Is the waste book thing what really launched the idea of the book?
Yeah. And oh gosh, I'm so sorry. That was my email. Boop, boop, boop.
Oh, we don't hear
Okay.
anything. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, it was. And it was also just kind of like a personal need to justify my research to
Sure.
myself. I felt like I didn't have good answers when people asked me why this kind of work matters. Like, I knew it intuitively in my soul, but
And what kind of work were you doing?
at the time I was doing squid sensory physiology. So I was studying how they respond to predators. And I just wasn't good at articulating why this kind of research is important. So this was really helpful for me to sit down and like organize my thoughts on this and have a much better conversation about it in the future.
And so these waste books, it's this kind of political way to, I want to say, put down science. And really, this is we're in a really special time for that kind of stuff right now, where a lot of people are trying to claim that science is wasteful. We're wasting government money. So unfortunately, but also fortunately for your book, you're right smack dab on topic for that. So
Yeah.
how does this kind of stuff work?
Oh man. So the waste book tradition, it got started like in 1970s, and it was actually started by a Democrat, William Proxmire from Wisconsin. It's bipartisan with
Yeah.
a few things, right? And he started the Golden Fleece Awards, which were awards he gave to wasted government funding, at least perceived wasted government funding. And it wasn't just science projects; it was other funding situations as well, but a lot of it ended up landing on curiosity driven research projects, because those are pretty easy to twist and sound silly if you don't know why the bigger picture of that kind of research matters.
Yeah.
So-
The one of the examples that I love is the shrimp treadmill, which is like famous from this. And of course you'd think, well, there's a shrimp on a treadmill. Why would we be paying for that? But if you sit and think for like 5 seconds about it, at least in my mind, like, yeah, we're studying locomotion. This is important. And also it turns out, like you say in your book, spoiler alert, the treadmill was like $50. So it's
Right.
not that much of a waste.
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of it, there's a few different layers of this very stinky onion with the politics. And part of it is not understanding how funding works and not understanding how science in general works.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's people out there who see like, oh, $300,000 to study duck penises. I bet they went out and got a fancy car or something with that money. And you're like, that's not how it works. That's not how these grants go, or like seriously accountable for how every dime gets spent.
Yeah, and you see that even right now. I mean, this is a story that when was the waste book? It was like a decade ago or so, right?
Yeah, so it's an ongoing thing. So William Proxmire, he I think he went until around like 2000, and then
Okay.
it started to get picked up by different senators. So
Gotcha.
I feature some in there. Senator Jeff Flake and Senator Tom Coburn, those have been biggies, but there's been other ones too. It's
As recently as I want to say last week when there were those NIH hearings, one of the senators said that we should have a competition for getting grants. And that is, in fact, how the system works, but they're just not quite informed about what's going on.
right.
But yeah, this comes out at a time, hopefully, well, those people are probably not going to read it, but hopefully they get their hands on it and people can see that, like, I don't know. For me, the silly science is the stuff that brings me joy and that makes me want to do the actual work. All the nitty gritty stuff is less interesting.
Right.
But do you have some fun examples of some tech based silly science in your book?
From prying eyes to improving defenses to peace of mind. Take your company's cybersecurity to the next level. Transform the everyday with Siemens.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
And we're back, folks. It looks like Jim from sales just got in from his client lunch, and he's got receipts.
His next meeting is in 2 minutes. The team is asking, can he get through his expenses in that time?
He's going for it. Is that his phone? He's snapping a pic. He's texting Ramp.
Jim is fast, but this is unheard of.
That's it. He's done it. It's unbelievable.
On Ramp, expenses are faster than ever. Just submit them with a text. Switch your business to Ramp.com.
With the Redfin app, you'll know the moment your next place hits the market. Whether you're looking to buy your dream home or rent a sweet apartment, give Redfin your gotta-have-it wish list of property features, and you'll receive real-time notifications tailored just for you. Ready to see it up close and personal? Scheduling a tour is just a tap away. Don't wait to find your perfect match. Download the Redfin app and start searching today.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
I think my favorite stories that lend themselves well to a tech conversation come from the biomechanics standpoint. So
I just read that chapter.
Did you? The cockroach one?
Yes, the cockroach.
Yeah,
yes. I'm so glad we're talking about this.
I think that's my favorite one. So this was done by a researcher who was studying the biomechanics of cockroaches and basically like how squishable they were, how they fit through those itty bitty tiny little cracks and how they're able to move so fast. And it turns out they have, like pretty unique anatomy, and that shell that we think is just a shell actually has joints in it, and it allows it to be really smushable. And that surprisingly ends up being a good model for an itty bitty little robot that could potentially go in very small spaces, like in like a search and rescue situation, rubble, going through that kind of stuff. So the cockroach lends itself to that. And then also the snake locomotion as well. That's another one where like search and rescue robots potentially came into play. Since snakes can, slither and climb and apparently fly.
Yeah, flying snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I when we're like, it's difficult to see it from the other side because, like you said, you work on squid sensory systems. I work on headbutting goats. Like initially, when you hear the story, oh, it's funny, but like, why would we do that? And for us, it may be a little bit more instinctual to be like, oh, obviously this is going to have some applications, but like we're like 30 years away from those applications, or like I'm not a biomechanic person. Someone else can do that part. But for the general public, this is not something that's pretty obvious. And the fact that we're having so many funding cuts, I've been bringing it up on the show. Like, yeah, maybe you don't think about the NIH or the NSF every day, but the internet comes from them. And like, a lot of, their electricity and like all things like this are things that the NIH and NSF have invested in. And if you don't get to the root of those like basic science findings, then you don't maybe get the future applications like your search and rescue cockroach.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it does require you to trust that knowledge will pay off in the long run. Yeah. And it has. Historically, it absolutely has. Like, I think I have a stat in there that's like for medical research, if you look back at the origin of most drugs, like 80% of them started with some kind of a basic research project that had nothing to do with a medical application at all.
I also bookmarked this line that says that about 30% of the U.S. gross national product is based on inventions that come from this kind of basic type of science.
Right.
And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't... We don't know it. We don't know it until we know it. And
if we had started working the other way around, it maybe wouldn't work. Like if you start out saying like, I want to study this to like get a better helmet, which is a lot in the case of my research, and that research doesn't pan out because they're not thinking about the stuff they don't know yet.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And if you switch to like simply applied research, trying to solve a problem at hand, your knowledge base is it's going to keep shrinking and shrinking. Like the pool of information that you have to solve that problem in the long run, it's going to keep shrinking. And we've seen historically that sometimes the solution to that problem is just so out in left field. Like you never would have looked there. It just happened to happen.
And I love that in a lot of these stories, the diversity of the scientist plays a role. For example, someone will have this like background of, oh yeah, I saw this cockroach or whatever, and it inspired this robot. I mean, there's a ton of stories like this. You probably know the examples better, but yeah, I love that some of these examples do really come out of left field. Is there which one of the tons of examples and stories that are in your book just like blew your mind the most, or maybe your favorite one?
Oh man, well.
And now, a next-level moment from AT&T Business. Say you've sent out a gigantic shipment of pillows, and they need to be there in time for International Sleep Day. You've got AT&T 5G, so you're fully confident. But the vendor isn't responding, and International Sleep Day is tomorrow. Luckily, AT&T 5G lets you deal with any issues with ease, so the pillows will get delivered and everyone can sleep soundly, especially you. AT&T 5G requires a compatible plan and device. Coverage not available everywhere. Learn more at att.com/5G network.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
My favorite one to write up was the chapter Felicia and Friends. Have you gotten to that one yet?
I don't think I've gotten there yet.
This is about the ferret that... okay, so the story is...
Tell me everything.
Yeah. In like 1970, they were working on building the largest particle accelerator that had been built to date. And it kept failing.
This is CERN, right? The Swiss one?
Yeah. What they found was that in construction, they had left some metal shards in the tubing, and that was causing their magnets to fail. But this thing was like 4 miles long, so you can't just like snap it apart and back together and clean it easily.
Yeah.
And they decided they'd actually brought someone on specifically for keeping them in budget and keeping this project going, because they were like hitting some hard deadlines.
Oh yeah.
And he suggested a ferret. He's from England, and they use them when they're rabbit hunting. They'll like go down burrows. So he was
Tunnels.
So they got a little ferret. Her name was Felicia, and they trained her to run through the tubing, and they basically had put a little harness on her that was attached to a string, and then behind her there was a cleaning rag. So she just like cleaned as she went. And she had a little diaper on. And it ended up like saving the project. It was really successful. She did it a few times, and then they found a less fun way to get it done. But she saved that project.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then I also in there talk about the hero rats, which I think my absolute favorite thing to write about. So these are rats that are trained to sniff out landmines and tuberculosis. They're really good at detecting TB.
So you have probably a chapter in common with John Green and Everything is Tuberculosis book.
Probably. I actually haven't read it yet, but
it's also on my TBR. Anyway, we're not talking about that book. We're talking about your book.
Yeah. So these are giant pouched African rats. So they're like 3 feet long. They're really big, and they're big. They train them to be really discriminatory in their sense that they pick up, and they're really sensitive to begin with. And it turns out they're much better at detecting TB in samples than even like our best technology is.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's way cheaper to train a rat to detect these than it is to get the most current equipment and to maintain it. It's
wild.
like, yeah, magnitudes of thousands cheaper to train the rat.
So hopefully they're developing tests based on the rat noses or something.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then the landmine part is fascinating as well, because they're trained to sniff out these landmines, and they're the perfect animal to do it because they're not heavy enough to actually trigger the landmine. Yeah. So like a dog, that wouldn't work so well. But they're just light enough, and they do like weekly weigh-ins to make sure that they stay underneath that goal.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I love them.
This book overall has actually gotten me out of this rut. I love popular science books, but I never end up, like, I buy them and then I never end up reading them because I get home after work after reading science all day and I don't want to read them. But this one, I'm like, it's like my favorite stuff. It's all these fun stories. So it's gotten me out of that rut of reading popular science books. So I'm very thankful for that.
I'm so glad.
Has the book changed how you view things? Like, are you always thinking like, oh, did this bagel come from an invention from some science thing?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, you can look around at anything and just, be that annoying little kid that's like, yeah, but why?
Yeah.
Why? But why? Like, how did we even get to this point? And the questions are, they're endless. They're bottomless. Yeah. But it's a really fun way to, like, go through the world, too. Like,
I agree.
Being curious and also just recognizing how incredible the technology that we have today actually is. Like, I can't really even totally wrap my mind about what we've been able to do with the knowledge that we have now. Like, it's incredible.
And all that is little grains of people's contributions who had brains who were able to be like, well, why don't we make humpback whale fins into wind turbines?
Why not? Let's go.
I love it. And I think if you're the type of person who loves sharing fun facts about science, which is literally, if you've met me, almost the only way that I talk, I just speak in fun facts. This is the book. This is the book for you. So I highly encourage everyone to buy it. And, I don't know. Anything else you want to say about the book that you want to share? I
hope that people will find it fun. Mostly educational, but also fun, because my pedagogy, I guess, is really that you can get a lot of information into fun things without it being so painful. And so I hope that people can enjoy it while they're absorbing stuff.
That's a really good point. The writing is really accessible. It's not like you're reading a manual or like an academic paper or like big book. It's like casual. I read this over breakfast. And I just I'm loading my brain with all of these fun facts. So it's great. And I'm so happy we got to talk to you about it on the show.
Thank you.
Where can people find you and where can people find your book?
The book is available pretty much at all the major places online. Barnes & Noble, Amazon, probably your local independent bookstore. In terms of me online, I am active on Blue Sky. I am at Carly. Oh wait, nope, that's not it. At Biology Carly there. And I'm also Biology Carly on Instagram and the app formerly known as Twitter as well. Even though I'm not particularly active on there, I still do exist.
Okay, and once again, that is the Salmon Cannon and the Levitating Frog, and I highly recommend it. Thanks, Carly. good luck with your book.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Big thanks to Dr. Niki for doing that. And thank you, Dr. Carly Ann York, not only for writing that book, for talking with us as well. Thanks again for that. That is it for the Daily Tech News Show Weekend Edition. We'll be back on Monday with a regular show. Thanks for being a patron. And if you're not a patron, get these shows ad-free. Patreon.com/DTNS. Talk to you soon.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Ever wonder what your lashes are destined for? The cards have spoken. Maybelline New York Mascara does it all. Whether you crave fully fan lashes with Lash Sensational, big, bold volume from the Colossal, a dramatic lift with Falsies Lash Lift, or natural-looking volume from Great Lash, your perfect lash future awaits. Manifest your best mascara today. Shop Maybelline New York and discover your lash destiny. Shop now at Walmart.